I'll briefly touch on what the LSIP is all about, followed by what we at Business West Chambers of Commerce offer for our members. I'll then pass on to Sarah Witham from Evil Empire, our expert for today's event, who's put together an insightful and valuable presentation for us, followed by a Q&A session. We'll then highlight some further events that we in LSIP have coming up, as well as how to get in touch with our team. So the Local Skills Improvement Plan, or LSIP as we refer them to because it is quite a mouthful, is a Department for Education funded project to give local areas the flexibility to innovate and tailor approaches to better match business needs. Business West are running LSIPs in 3 areas, being Gloucestershire, Swindon and Wiltshire, and in West of England and North Somerset area. We are now in year 3, and the purpose is to showcase the impact we have had so far. We are continuing to engage with employers through our signposting local provision, or SLP sessions, and our skills advisory clinics, focus groups, as well as hosting these Meet the Expert events. We also have roadmap action clinics, which are held for employers, partners and providers to discuss with us the actions they have taken towards the priorities that have been set out in the progress reports in response to our engagements and findings over the course of the LSIP so far. To ensure the impact and value the LSIP adds to the local area is easily accessible, we'll be launching an impact dashboard very soon, which will provide up-to-date information about activities that are happening in response to the LSIP findings. This dashboard will also feature interactive data to show the number of engagements per area and per sector, as well as a "you said, we did" feature, alongside testimonials and case studies directly from the employers, partners and providers who have contributed to and benefited from the LSIP to date. Next slide, please. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Sally to talk through membership.
Hello everybody, my name's Sally Cunlin and I look after Chamber membership for Bath and Bristol, but actually Business West looks after, manages chambers across 4 areas: Bath, Bristol, Gloucestershire and Wiltshire. So when you join, you actually get those 4 chambers. And there are many benefits to joining that go beyond the normal chamber benefits. And one of them today, we are delighted that we've got one of our members actually presenting and running one of these sessions. And that's going to be a fantastic way to raise the profile of their business. Next slide, please. So it gives me great pleasure really to introduce you to one of our members, Evil Empire. They are a full service marketing agency. They are your outsourced marketing department. And I'm going to pass you over to capable hands of Sarah Witham now. Sarah, you've got about 30 minutes, I think.
Thank you, Sally. Hi everyone, thank you for joining today. Just going to sort of go through with you a bit of a rundown of some sort of best practices with marketing. Hopefully you'll get to know some bits and pieces that you didn't know before. So yeah, maybe if we can get a start and I'll run through the agenda. So we're going to run through some marketing basics that's really important to know. We're going to talk about your business, your customers, how to pull a strategy together, what channels you can use, niches and verticals, campaigns, and then we're going to have a bit of fun with some AI at the end. So, great. Okay, so basics of marketing. The first one is it's not sales. You need salespeople to do sales, and I think quite a lot of people sort of put a lot of reliance on marketing as well. If we do that, we're going to get clients. Well, actually, it's not always the case. It'd be lovely if that was the case, but you need to have a decent sales function in place, or at least a person doing sales, somebody out there talking to people. Marketing enables the sale, so you know, it sort of creates that want, that need, and gets you in the right places. And it's so great now how you know, marketing is just brilliant. It's hugely trackable, so you can see exactly what's working, exactly what's not, by using lots of fantastic CRMs and programs and apps and everything. So it's really great to see how that's working, but you need someone to convert it. It's very much about understanding client behaviors as well, which we'll go through in a bit more detail. and looking at your business from the outside. A lot of my clients sort of say to me, this is what we do, but it's like, well, how is that attractive to your prospective clients? And it's about building awareness. It's about being there in front of people, having the multiple touch points as well. I think it's, it used to be, I think when I first started in marketing, something like sort of 3 to 5 touch points. Now it's sort of upwards of 13. And those touch points are things like email, social media, showing up in networking spaces, that kind of thing. It's about building a reputation online as well, as a strong, reputable brand that knows what it's talking about. And it's very much about storytelling as well. So it's really, really important to tell that story of your brand, to get it out there, to understand why it was created in the first place, what you provide, what problems you solve, etc. So next slide, please. Thank you. So what does your business offer? I mean, I would always start with your business objectives. So they don't have to be marketing objectives. They can be the general objectives of your business. So do you want to sell this package at £500 because you're selling several packages at £30 and the customers are being really annoying, but actually the customers that are at £500 are really easy to deal with and they don't bother you. So you need to look at your business and go, do you know what, I need to do more of this, or I need to diversify, whatever it is. You start with that objective. Doesn't need to be one, it can be 3 or 4, but just sort of have some main objectives, easy for me to say, in place, and then move towards those with your marketing. And what I was saying before, understanding the why over how and what. So why do you do what you do? Okay, I can do this, that we provide this, yeah, but why do you provide it, and why is that good for your clients? Problem solving as well. So what is it? What pain do you take away from them? How can you amplify that through your marketing channels? How can you tell people, hey, we're here, we take this pain away, come and talk to us? So it's more about why rather than the what. When you start delving into that, it all starts to make a bit more sense, and you're sort of getting to those clients and to those core wants and needs that they have. And also what makes you different. I get a lot of clients saying to me, oh, let's look at the competitors and let's look at this. It's healthy to look at your competitors, absolutely, but understand what makes you different. Stand away from them. Don't look at everything that they're doing all the time and think, well, you should be doing that and I want to be doing that. Don't compare yourself, break out from that kind of headspace and be different, do things differently. And take that feedback from your clients as well. So then your core services and products. Sometimes I sort of go into companies and they've got quite a lot of sprawling kind of products, services, and they're sort of like, oh, this one bit of money here and a bit of money there, and not really sure. And sometimes it's good to really have a look at all your core services and products, and sometimes you might need to consolidate. Sometimes you might just say, do you know what, that's really not working. It's all about kind of being really right at the start, when you're starting to write up your plans, is be really honest with yourself. Speak to your team, speak to your clients, what's working, what's not. Sometimes concentrating on a core means you don't dilute that message. And then your brand messaging is absolutely vital. So you need to understand what your brand stands for, why it's there, how it makes a difference, and you need to get people to understand that as well. So including, especially your team. Start with your team with the whole messaging piece, get them to get involved in it. Even if it's post-its or suggestions or whatever, pull that together and sort of see what that looks like. And don't be afraid to just refresh it really often, and make sure you're getting that core messaging out there through all of your marketing. Next slide, please. So who and where are your customers? This is really, really important to know exactly who they are, their personality traits, or their sort of home and work life. You might want to segment them as to how much they spend as well. So like I was saying before, if you want more of the more expensive ones, they might be harder to get, but actually, do you want to concentrate your marketing spend in that area? Probably you do, because that's going to be a lot less have a ball ache for you down the line, if you've got people spending not much money but being very kind of time consuming. I would always harness any data that you've got, perhaps in your social channels, Meta, all of that, LinkedIn. It can show you some really, really good insight on demographics, what people like, what people don't like, and the kind of people that are engaging with you at the moment. You can do all sorts of online research. You could even create focus groups. Oh, sorry, I'm getting lots of feedback. I'm not sure if there's a bit of a technical.
Sorry, that's.
Sorry, couldn't hear myself talk then. So yeah, it's really understanding about them, and actually just go out there and find that information. Even grab a core of them and say, look, would you come in? Let's have some tea and coffee. Talk about what you like about us, what you don't like, how we can make things better, and where we could go. So it's super valuable to find out. You might be really surprised. And then the channels there, stick to the channels that your clients are on. I get people saying TikTok, we need to be on that, but it's effort, it's video. If your business doesn't align with TikTok, don't bother. Don't sort of turn your head and be like, we need to do that, when it's really not going to work, and it's going to be a lot of wasted effort. So if I've got one client, they have just purely on LinkedIn, they're like, that's where all our clients are, we're not going to look at any other social channels. Brilliant, go for it. And then we just spend all our time and effort on there, and it pays off. So events and networking, I always think, get in front of people. That's what I'm doing today. Business West have been fantastic for me, amazing events, and they give me opportunities like this to get in front of people. If you're confident to do that, brilliant. If there's people in your team that can do that, great. But it's always good to meet people face to face. If you can, it's super important, because people buy from people after all. And then harness your membership with Business West, use it. There's so much opportunity here to really sort of help people and meet new people and collaborate as well. Collaboration is a massive thing for me. I do that with quite a lot of businesses, where it's sort of that we might not buy from each other, but we collaborate together and make something amazing that people can customers will be like, wow, I've just collaborated with someone on a podcast, and now we're thinking about, we're collaborating as two businesses, and then we're putting that out as a product, which is really, really exciting. So next slide, please. Give me time. Channels, I'm not going to run through all of these. I'm just going to pick out a couple of highlights, because you'll get these slides, but there's so many ways you can get out there and do your 13 touch points. A particular one for me that I want to pull out of here is awards. In that a lot of people say, I don't want awards, I don't want to be flashy about it, I don't want to say I'm an award-winning company. Actually, it's not about that. It's about the people in the room, and it's about who's going to be there. And if you're a finalist for that award, if you're up on stage and you win that award, well, they're all going to want to talk to you. Everybody's going to be like, wow, they won that, they must be good, let's have a chat. So it's more about who's in the room. And you can, there's some really great free ones out there, really great sort of reasonably priced ones. I'm going to one tonight, and it's £35 a ticket, and it's fantastic, and £10 to enter. You can really, and there'll be a lot of great people in that room. And I also wanted to pull out with newsletters. I've just done a talk this morning on LinkedIn newsletters. They are really, really great for getting out there and getting a load of leads that you don't necessarily have on your database. I've just had one client, we just went live with their newsletter last week. They've got 649 followers on LinkedIn, and they got, I just checked it this morning, they've got 115 subscribers to the newsletter already, and it went out last week. So harness LinkedIn newsletters. You can talk to me about those. I'm happy to give any kind of advice, so link in with me or whatever about those. But yes, just wanted to pull those things out so we can move to the next slide. So when we're talking about marketing strategy, I think people, you can get a bit kind of, oh my God, it's a bit scary, it's facing me off, what do I do? How do I always say to my clients, strategy is a hugely important part of everything. That's where you start. You grab all this information, everything and then you go, right, okay, well, let's start putting the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. And you can document it on Word, you can put it in a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, but it's very important to sort of get all those key stakeholders of the business involved at that kind of stage as well. So it's just a marketing strategy is a high level plan. You might want to do it for 3 months, you might want to do it for 6 months, you might want to do it for a year, but know that it's always subject to tweaking, and those kind of results that you're getting from it. Always understand your results. If you're putting all your eggs in one basket with something, and you're going full tilt with case studies and they're falling a bit flat, well, maybe we need to revisit that. Perhaps you turn it into a video. It's always a moving feast, I feel, with a strategy. So always prioritize those essentials. Which socials you're going to go for. Get your Google listings sorted as well. Make sure you're on Google My Business so you can start pulling reviews in. You can pull in APIs to your website to get those reviews coming in over your website as well. Make sure your website's in a good place. They don't have to cost thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds like they used to. There's some really good web developers out there that can just help you get that on track, and make sure that's all sort of optimized for SEO. Make sure you've got a good CRM. HubSpot is a really cool free one. When you get into paid, it's quite expensive, but actually it does a lot for free, and you can send 2,000 emails a month on HubSpot for free as well. So if you've got that contact system in place, brilliant. Then, with the channels and outreach, like I was saying with TikTok before, you just don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to do all the things, just really drill down to those sort of core areas where your clients are, and sort of maximize those, and just be there, show up, turn up to the networking, pop people an email after if you get their business card, open those lines of communication as well. So then, you also might want to look at sort of some high impact quick wins if you need a bit of a kickstart, if things have gone a bit flat and you're like, oh my goodness, okay, how can we pull this out of the bag? Or you're just starting up a new product or service, just started with a new client and they've just said, look, we just want to go all out on Facebook ads for a month with an offer. We just need leads in. We're brand new. We just need leads. Here's a massive chunk of our budget. Boom, it's going on that. So, fine, great. Let's get some leads in. Let's get some, some stuff going and get a few social posts out and some nice sort of videos and content, that kind of thing. Could you harness a community like this one? Could you do something I'm doing today? I'm harnessing the Business West community to help people, which is what I absolutely love doing. I do a lot of training. I do a lot of work with the platform project at Swindon for young people, getting them back into the world of work or education and things. So harnessing a community is a really good idea, because people will talk. People, and then going back to the collaboration thing as well, you'll get people wanting to collaborate with you, and then you've got the power of both your audiences. PR is really good if you've got something really newsworthy to talk about. Again, essentially free. Build relationships with local press, build relationships with anyone that can sort of spread that message for you. So next slide, please. So with niches and verticals, sometimes you might fall into one of these. I had a client that just fell into sort of the renewables sector when they thought they were going to be in another sector, and they were like, oh, we're suddenly getting all these renewables people wanting to work with us. And I was like, well, let's lean into that. And then we just started producing all our marketing towards renewables, and all of a sudden it just kicked off, and we had tons and tons of renewables companies on our books. So if you've had markets that work well historically, if there's something that you think, do you know what, we've got a really good product here, it's not got that much competition, let's go for that kind of vertical. Make sure they're easy to work with as well, because if they're complicated to work with, then you might want to give that a miss. But and I always say, don't ever be afraid to niche your content, because that is kind of key. You don't have to talk to everyone about everything. If you've got different verticals or audiences that you talk to, job titles, whatever that is, create a post just for them, create a blog just for them, put together a landing page that is just for them, because they don't want to read about all the other stuff, and actually you don't want to dilute your message. So don't be, you've got multiple touch points, multiple ways of doing that, and if you can segment your database accordingly, you're going to be in an even better position. I'm working through that with a client at the moment. It's a ball ache, but we are going in and putting industry on every single client that they've got on there. So we can go, do you know what, we're just going to send logistics information to logistics people, healthcare information to healthcare industry, you know, that's what we're doing. So it's really worth doing that, because then they'll love you even more, because you're just talking to them and they're not having to read other fluff. Multipliers are a really key one. One of my past clients, for example, they did software for tourist attractions, so they joined up to Visit West. Visit West had something like 800 attractions on their books, so therefore they were able to harness their social media. They were able to do an email every 6 months and just get their business in front of 800 people straight away, just like that. And you're not going there and looking for the ones and the twos. You know, you're sending out a campaign to your target audience, you know, for the sake of a few £100 a year membership. So it's a really good idea to look at multipliers that might work at membership organizations as well, and absolutely maximize those relationships. So next slide, please. Hope I'm doing all right for time. Campaigns, creating a hit list is key as well. You know, even if it's 10 people that you say, these are 10 clients I want to get into, you know, it might be 50, whatever it is, make it manageable for you. But just really focus on them, what they might want. Try and get in there, you know, try not to send LinkedIn messages out of the blue, but nobody likes those. But you know, you might want to connect, you might want to start engaging with them on socials and sort of and start commenting on what they're doing, and do it in a sort of softer way. And 100% track and measure your campaigns. You know, again, HubSpot free version, you can do that. MailChimp, infinitely trackable. You know, everything's got trackers on it at the moment, and you can get systems. I've got a system called Ovion that I use for my clients that pull all of the platforms that you're using into one place, so you can clearly see what's working, what's not, and sort of drill down into that. Again, events and networking, going to talk about that again. You know, any events you can turn up to, industry events. You know, if you're thinking about going to a show, maybe go along as a delegate, see how that goes first before you sort of take the plunge and exhibit. Webinars like the one we're doing today, they're really good as well. So yeah, campaigns are very much sort of really sort of laser focused on an outcome, but with multiple touch points, and you've got that business objective at the top. So here we go, there's a fun bit. We're just gonna whiz through this. So yeah, I'm just going to talk through a bit of AI and marketing. It's just AI and marketing. I understand AI has got brilliant uses elsewhere, but it's just some things to be cautious about here. So next slide. I'd like everyone to pop in the chat a random ingredient, please. I'm going to carry on talking, but just think of something random, and then I'll explain everything after we've finished this AI piece. So yeah, if we can move on to the next slide while you pop an ingredient in. So AI imagery, it's not amazing. You know, you've got applications like this, which is Adobe Firefly. You know, you can largely tell. Some of them are really good, but I would just, my advice with AI and marketing is just always proceed with caution. Do not rely on it in its entirety. You know, but have a little try with Firefly. You know, something like the middle one, the generative fill, where you can change people's clothes. I have tried that, and it's a bit weird. But you know, sometimes it's okay, because you think, I'll take a headshot and then I can have me casual, me smart. It sometimes looks a bit funny. The text one is quite cool. As you can see, I've written Evil Empire there in leopard print, which is my favorite print. That's quite fun. So, you know, the text to image, you can kind of tell those. They're very sort of yellowy toned. They're too perfect. So I would, you know, unless you're going to really lean into the fact that you're AI, I would try and avoid it and try and use, you know, your own images wherever possible. But I was going to show you again in a minute, actually, some good tools on Canva that you can use for AI. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So this is Magic Expand on Canva. So, you know, you've got an image, it's not quite fitting. you don't know what to do, you can just use the Magic Expand tool here, and as you can see, it does quite a good job of it, because nobody wants a stretched, squashed image. It gives you a few different options as well, which is quite handy. Sorry, I'm just going to take a drink. Magic Grab, this is good. So you can make something look a little bit more dynamic, so you can pick the people out of the images. So I've just sort of done that here, made it look a bit more fun, a bit different, a bit more arty. So you can just sort of grab pieces out of the image and sort of move them around. This is quite fun magic edit. So I thought she looks a bit lonely. Thought let's put a dog in a party hat in the picture. This is where Canva gets a bit weird. So it can sometimes generate some very strange things. So I thought I'll pop that in, because actually some of them are quite funny. Some of them look a little bit odd, as you can see. So yeah, it's kind of, that was probably the best one, I think. They do give you options, but yeah, just proceed with caution. So Magic Expand, if you can't get the picture to fit, separate your main focus from the background for Magic Grab. A Magic Edit, blank space, you can add something, but that's a little bit dodgy. It was just a bit of fun, but yeah, proceed with caution with that one, I think. So next slide, please. So just want to talk about AI text. If you recognize any of these, this is the kind of stuff that ChatGPT will come up with, which is all the words. And, I see these on posts and I just think, oh no. And the rocket emojis and, AI, I watched a video once where somebody sort of said, okay, we used to dig holes with spades. Now we dig holes with diggers. But we still need to know how big the hole needs to be, where it's going, why it's going there. So it's kind of like we get these tools, but you can't just sort of completely rely on them and just go, write me a social media post. You have to sort of engineer it and put your language in there, because you see words like this, someone's written it in chat. It's not how we talk, and you've got to keep your brand voice in there massively and have that sort of personal touch, because otherwise it just becomes fluff and air and people will just skim over everything you're writing. So please don't use ChatGPT in its entirety. It's great for ideas, but yeah. Next slide, please. So if you're thinking about implementing it, start with your customers and work backwards. What do they want? What do they need? Don't just give them stuff. Don't just put stuff in front of them that you think they'll like. Actually really think about if you can look at an AI post and go, that looks great, but is that telling anyone anything? Is it telling them what they want to know? Probably not, because it's not coming from you. It's not your brand voice. It's not your specific niched kind of content. If you want to check out AI content, Copy Leaks is a good website. So if somebody's delivered you a blog or a piece of content and you're like, I'm not sure if that's AI, you can put it in there and it'll tell you. It's good for idea generation. I've just been using Copilot actually for that, because Copilot is brilliant, because it gives you links. So if you want some inspiration for blogs and things like that, it gives you like real life links and examples. So I'd always use it to do that sort of heavy lifting at the front, rather than anything in its entirety. It can give you really good ideas for buyer personas, and you can kind of flesh those out as well. But I would try Copilot if you haven't already. And read the Google guidance on AI content. You do not want your website or any of your content to be completely AI, and always definitely check any facts and add insight, personality, and your most importantly, you want to add your brand voice into that as well. So I think really you can also harness a more sophisticated AI platform, so things like super copy, where you can actually put your brand voice, your words into it, terms that you use. You could so it's it's all about teaching and learning, and then you can tell it to write all sorts of things, so emails, social posts, blog posts. So there's tons of these more sophisticated AI platforms on the market, so sometimes it is worth the spend if you're going to go down that route with the AI generation. Then go for something a little bit more sophisticated, and that you can add your brand voice into. And it'll generate something and it won't ever be perfect, but it will be 99% there. But yeah, so for example, I was writing a blog for one of my clients for Wi-Fi in stadiums, and they were like, oh, we want the classic like 10 different reasons why Wi-Fi is good in sports stadiums. So I sat there and I was like, thought about 5 off the bat, and I was like, oh, actually, and then I thought, oh, do you know what, I can harness chat to give me. So then I got another 5 from there real quick, so probably saved me half hour thinking time, that kind of thing. So but then I went on to write those points in my own words. So it's really good for some heavy lifting on the marketing front. But I would recommend Copilot because it's really great because you can go into all the articles that it sends. So if you're creating a blog, then you can look at other blogs. It'll suggest all sorts of things for you. So I'm quite enjoying Copilot at the moment. But yes, just purely for ideas, inspiration, and getting to things quicker than trawling around Google. Because that can also be a bit of a pain. So yeah, always add your brand voice and your own insight and your personality and facts and figures that you've perhaps gleaned as well. Just put that personality into it, because largely AI will not have that personality at all. So yeah, I think probably we're on to the next one with what we're cooking. So we just need to, I don't know if the recipe has been put into ChatGPT and you want to read it out. I think what I'll just sort of explain why we did these. So again, what I was sort of saying before is how when we say we're going to put something into chat, if you put the wrong thing into chat, you're going to get the wrong thing out. You need to put the right things into chat. So when we were talking about the holding and everything like that, you need to know all the specifics first to get it to write you something that's good. So what I would like to do is to hear this recipe with the random ingredients and see if anyone will want to eat it.
It's pretty awful.
Okay, good.
Not surprising. So we've got pan-fried steak and pan-fried trout, so it's like a surf and turf, on top of a beetroot and spinach noodles. So I've used the selection of all of the things that have been put in the chat. Beetroot and spinach noodles, and then that is topped off with the with some Marmite scrambled eggs.
Oh.
And then finally garnished with a single baked bean on the top.
How lovely. Marmite scrambled eggs. Do you know, that kind of reminds me of Heston Blumenthal. Maybe I would try that. I think there has been quite a few bits about Google AI writing some recipes with some quite dangerous ingredients as well. So I think the whole point is you put these things in, it comes out, because it's like, oh, you've told me to do that, so I'm going to do that, but it's not the right thing at all. No one's going to want to eat it. No one's going to want to make it, so this is what I'm saying about bringing it back to your marketing and your brand. You can't just let it do all the work for you at all. You still need to have your brand voice. You still need to be you. Otherwise it's just creating content for creating content's sake, and you're not going to get anywhere with it. You're not going to talk to those customers that you really want to get in front of as well. So yeah, I think we're done, and thank you everyone for listening to my prayers. And what I'd encourage you to do is sort of link in with me. More than happy to book one-to-ones to talk anything marketing. I love talking marketing and talk marketing all day long. Got my email address there, and you've got this presentation. If there's any bits in there that you want to sort of drill down into, then we can always jump on a call, and it'd be lovely to meet some of you. So thanks for listening.
Perfect. If we can just move on to the next slide. Thank you, Jackie. So we're now on the Q&A session. So we have at least 10, maybe 15 minutes on this for anybody in the audience to ask questions to Sarah. So I'll open the floor to any questions. If you can just use the raised hand tool, or you could type some questions in the chat if you prefer that method of asking questions. So I'll leave it to everybody to flood in.
What does good engagement look like on social media?
So good engagement really is it's social media. It's being social. It's you know, we always advise our clients, because we do a lot of engagement for them. A lot of them just have complete social media packages where we do a lot. But we tend to advise the sort of the 60-40 rule. You know, you spend 60% of your time on social media, engaging with people, talking to them, getting involved in communities, commenting on people's posts, sharing, just seeing really what's going on in your community and how you could get involved. LinkedIn has got a really good function for business pages, which it just sort of started up. I can't remember the beginning of the year, where you can now follow as a business page. So for a lot of our clients, we follow other businesses. You know, they're talking to their hit lists and saying, right, let's go in, follow your hit list, let's see what they're doing, let's comment, let's like their stuff, let's sort of see how perhaps we could collaborate, work together. So engagement is very much about sort of being present on social, and just not just posting and running, being there. And you know, you don't have to get overwhelmed by it. I always say to people, you know, if you're going to do it yourself, give yourself, you know, whatever it is, whatever it works for you, 20 minutes a day, you know, or 20 minutes twice a week, it doesn't matter. But just get in there and get engaged. Don't post on them. There's another question here I've just seen in the chat. Jenny has said, about how many audience personas would you recommend if your target market's quite broad? I've got clients that have got sort of 10. I've got other clients that have got 2 or even 1. I think what you need to do is sort of flesh out those personas, flesh out all of them if you can, and then put money towards them. At the end of the day, you know, let's have a look and see how much they're spending with you, and how much time they take up of yours. So if you're sort of saying, right, okay, well, this person, you know, they don't take up that much time, they pay really well, you know, that they're up there, you know, they're a really good client. So then I would just prioritize them and sort of say, do you know what, we're going to focus on, I would say don't focus on more than kind of 4. But actually sometimes if you focus on those higher ones, all the other ones kind of fall into place down the bottom. But yeah, maybe sort of 4 as a focus initially.
Sarah, thank you so much. Great presentation. I'm sort of thinking, you know, I meet so many businesses, and a lot of them are reticent to spend money, but you know, they need to have more sales and they need growth. So is there, and obviously it depends from sector to sector and the cost of converting that sale, but for people starting out, is there a sort of a percentage they should look, you know, should it be 10% of the value of the sale for marketing? Is there something that I can advise them on?
That's kind of difficult one, in that it's kind of how, because there's so many different areas that they might, you know, so if they're a product-based business, they might need to buy the product in and all of that. And all I advise people with this is, you know, if they can get some kind of metrics in place, then you can start working that out. So if you know, so I'm starting with one of my clients at the moment who've got no idea what their conversion rate is. So we're sort of saying, right, okay, well, you know, we try and start creating that sort of cost per lead. So we're sort of going back and going, right, okay, well, how did this person come in? Okay, they came in, you know, via this email campaign. Okay, great. And then how long did it take you to convert them? And, you know, it's kind of what I call that. I don't want to use terms like funnel or whatever, but I call it a bit of a sausage machine. So if you can kind of look at your business and kind of analyze and go, right, well, I put 5 people in, and then 3 of those go to a meeting, and then 1 of those converts, you know, you can start getting some, you know, or you can look at send out an email campaign for on free MailChimp or something and see how many clicks you're getting, track your forms. I would always say track. But with marketing spend, it's kind of how long is a piece of string, unfortunately. I wish there was a sort of something that they can, but I always think if there's things that they can pick up themselves initially, like social media or something like that, have a bit of training from someone like me, and then give it over to somebody like me when they get bigger. I would always say 9 times out of 10 it's going to be some kind of social media that they would need to sort of put some money into first and foremost.
Okay, but I think that approach would be very welcomed, because it's sort of like a soft landing for them, so they can start, you know, you understand the need to do these things slowly initially, and the metrics I think is really good. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. I put somebody. There's someone in the chat here. Oh, Lauren. Businesses. So starting documenting a marketing strategy. This is quite a good one, because I think everybody should do it differently. I think everybody should do it how it works for them. Some people might want a lovely flashy presentation on Canva. Some people might want an Excel spreadsheet. It's however your brain, your mind, and like your business works, and however you can digest that easily. You might want to put your marketing strategy, we do that for a couple of our clients, in a productivity tool. Like we use Notion as a productivity tool. We've got a whole marketing strategy piece on there where you can add tasks to it and to-dos and all of that. It's however you work. And so we'll go into a business, understand how they work, what makes them tick. You know, they love spreadsheets. Okay, we'll do it on a spreadsheet then. You know, these guys like a nice flashy presentation. They're designers. Cool, let's do it on there. You know, it's never a one size fits all. And there's some really good templates on the internet that you can look at as well and sort of decide how you would work. But the most important thing with a strategy is actually executing it. So for me, because I'm so perimenopausal forgetful, I need everything on a productivity tool that is literally like, today you need to do this, and I'm like, okay, tick off the to-dos. So it's whatever works for you with the strategy.
I've got another question. Could you recommend any good free CRM systems?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the pres, I would always say HubSpot is really good. It does get pricey when you start to need the features, but it's a really good base to start. And as I said before, you can send 2,000 emails a month on it for free, which is pretty good. So you can also have things like deals on there, build your pipeline, and it's a really good way to sort of start tracking so simply. You know, honestly, anybody could use the tools. They've got amazing help centers. You know, I should actually go in with HubSpot, but I don't. But I think it's great. It's so user friendly. And yes, you will get to the point where it's like you can't do that, and you're like, oh, but you can really start getting the basics up together and really start understanding who's coming in, who's doing what, how your customers, you know, how your content's landing with your clients. And you know, you can link in your emails. You can have a proper system there that actually starts really working for you, and everybody in the company can see what's happening. You can build dashboards for stats, and again, yeah, your pipeline on there. There's a free pipeline tool, which is great, which is always brilliant to understand.
Amazing, thank you.
Oh, there's another one here about Daniel. Hi, Daniel. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, broad question. Now, I've never used it myself, but I have worked with companies with salespeople that do use it. One of my recent clients uses Sourcewell, which works in with this. It's kind of it's a bit, there's better tools out there, I think is probably what I'm trying to say. If you want to do that whole sales piece via LinkedIn, I would never advise sending a cold kind of LinkedIn in mail, because people just ignore you, get annoyed with you straight up. So there are tools out there like Sourcewell, which you can sort of, I don't know how expensive it is, but it kind of scrapes the data for you. So it goes, right, who are you looking for? All right, you're looking for you know, people that work at marketing agencies in Swindon. All right, so you sort of type all that criteria in, and then they pull a lot of data in from LinkedIn, and you can put that, it works with HubSpot as well, you can put that into your CRM, and you can just sort of gather that data initially. You could send them an email. do sort of a light connection through LinkedIn, anything like that. You can phone them. So if you want to go out on that kind of cold sales flex, then I'd probably use something a bit better. And another one on paid ads, Google paid ads. Do they work at all? That's a really good question. I think if you use I've not had many clients with a lot of success with Google paid ads, if I'm honest, but I think you need to use a really, to get success, you've got to use a proper expert. Don't do them yourself, because it is a minefield, unless you've got all the experience. I would, if you're going to put budget into Google ads, do it, but do it properly, and make sure you've got all the right data there that you can, that company can use to harness as well, so they can profile. So say if you had a database of clients, you can give that to a decent company that runs Google ads, and they can profile that data and then actually hit the ground running with better data to show your ads to more people. But yeah, mixed success with Google ads, in my experience over the past 5 years that I've been running the agency. I think we're good for your bit now, Lauren. Oh no, Google bots. Google bots, no, I haven't, sorry. What are they? That sounds interesting. Google bots. I've had experience with chat bots on people's websites, which are pretty cool. Sometimes you can put AI into those and get questions answered and things. Intercom is a good CRM as well, actually. That's got an AI function with sort of live chat bots on that can actually, you can send people over to case studies and all sorts of interesting content on your website, but that is a paid for one. But I think you can start quite small with Intercom, but it's quite a good one if you've got a lot of nice content. But I don't know about Google bots, sorry. I'm going to write that down.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. We'll just cover a few more slides before the event closes, but if anybody did have further questions, feel free to get in touch with Sarah directly after the event. So I just wanted to highlight some of the exciting events that we've got coming up for the West of England and North Somerset LSIP. So we have a Skills for Effective Event Management, which is an in-person interactive focus group at Design West on Thursday, the 5th of December. And soon to go live, we have a digital event around software and coding skills in cyber, IT, and in the creative industries. Basically, just watch this space, as there's so many more events that we've got planned in the pipeline, all of which are free to attend and will be listed on Eventbrite, and we regularly post about them on LinkedIn too. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, we are still looking to engage with employers and are running these one-to-one signposting local provision, or SLP, discussions, and these virtual skills clinics, which provides bespoke support on your business needs and signpost to you all available provision and resource in your local area. So these happen over Teams, although if you did want to do an in-person meetup, then we can come to you. So these QR codes on the slide will take you to our booking page should you wish to book on one. And if we can go to the next slide, please, Jackie. So finally, if you wanted to understand more about the LSIP or Business West in general, please feel free to get in touch and to follow us on social media, where we post all of our updates, reports, and our events. As a reminder, we'll be sending out these slides after the event closes, should you like to get in touch. And I just want to say many thanks for coming, and this brings us to an end. So thank you very much, and thank you, Sarah and Sally, for joining too.